I'm Matt DeBlass and welcome back to Bodhran Basics. Today we're going to talk about using single-ended versus double-ended rolls. What's the difference? Single-ended rolls use one end of the stick, double-ended rolls use both of them. That's a double-ended, single-ended. Isn't all that different in a lot of cases from your double-ended roll. So why would you use them? Well, for one, if you're playing up high on the drum, if you're using that higher up sound, you don't have anywhere to do your double-ended roll. So if you want to add any articulation other than your usual, you might have to learn to do it single-ended. Two, when you're playing that the down up down jig pattern we talked about, they really work well. So it's worth learning them for that as well. And sometimes they just have the right sound, or they work well with the tipper you happen to be using. And it's another tool in your arsenal. Weapon in your arsenal, tool in your toolbox, whatever. You get the picture. And there are some players who will only ever use double-ended roll and some who only ever use single ends. So how to play them, let's talk about that. First of all, grip. You'll notice that I tend to go from my pencil grip to the 2 up, 2 down traditional drumstick marching band grip. Although, again, that would be the left hand in a marching drum, a marching snare. Because I feel it gives me a little bit more control, but you can still use a pencil grip, or you can use that baby grip, that kind of even, if that's what you're comfortable with. I'll be using this grip throughout this video, but whatever works comfortable for you, as long as you can hold the stick loosely but with control. You don't want to be flailing all over the place like I just did, but you also don't want to have a death grip, because otherwise you won't be able to get a good sound. And again, angle of the tipper, relatively shallow angle works better. You'll get less scrapies if you move it a little bit shallower. So all the basics apply as far as technique and grip go. Like the double-ended triplet, it's really, in the most cases, 4 beats. It's the 1, 2, 3, and then the following beat. So the beat that comes after it also is as an important part of the roll as the triplet itself. So when you practice doing the roll on its own, you're going to practice a quick, kind of almost a snappy 4-beat pattern. Down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up. And I'd recommend you practice this first with a metronome. Start out slow. Then after you start getting comfortable and feel relaxed, up the tempo by 5 BPM. Then another 5 till you're doing it pretty quickly. And then you've got your galloping horse going on there too. Now when you're playing that in a reel, you'll run into the fact that because you're playing a 4-beat thing and that upstroke following it is your new downbeat, 1 beat, you'll change direction. So you'll go from which can be a little confusing. So if you want to avoid using them in reels for now, or 4-beat patterns, you can stick to your, or you can do what I do when I play fast, which is add a double beat, kind of more of an in. So it's hard to do slow, but it comes out to look like. So I end up bringing my 1 beat back to the downstroke instead of reversing directions, but it does involve doing this kind of weird little skip beat where it's more of a in stroke than a downstroke. It ends up sounding pretty similar though to the double-ended roll. So if you practice it up that way, that works really well. But where I really want to focus on using single-ended rolls are in jig patterns. And I talked before about using that down up down jig pattern instead of the down up down doing the down up down down. That jig pattern, which again works really well in the slip jigs, where you can do. But it works well on, you know, jigs in 6 or 12 or whatever, four beat groupings. And that gives you the chance to not only do at the beginning of a grouping, but you can also do it in the middle. So it gives you a little more expressiveness with your jigs. And so what we're going to practice is first practicing that down, up, down jig. And we're going to do groups of 4. So down, up, down, 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the third grouping of each one, you're going to add in your roll. And that's going to be that. One, two, three, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2. 1, 2, 2, 3. I messed up already. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want you to set a metronome for a slow enough to be comfortable speed, where your beats are going to be det, 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 det. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And keep working on that 1, 2, roll 4. After you've mastered doing it at the beginning of the 3-beat pattern, we're going to work on bringing it to the middle. So that's going to sound like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And that is a bump, bump, bump. So it actually, instead of a down, up, it's going to be down, up. So you'll do the beginning of that 3-beat cluster. That's not even, that's more of a, it's good, it's kind of a triplet. But it actually brings you, instead of a down, up, down jig, it actually leaves you on an upstroke, so you're ready for the downstroke. It's actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it. So you're going to practice those 2 patterns over and over, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the A pattern will be starting the roll on the downstroke. The B pattern will be starting the roll on the upstroke. Spend some time practicing each of them. So a whole bunch of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And a whole bunch of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you've got the hang of doing them each separately, alternate them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And work on those for a while. So your 3 patterns to practice: the jig pattern with the 1, 2, 3, 4, the jig pattern with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the alternating 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that should keep you busy for a while until you get the hang of that. Once you start getting comfortable with that, start playing along. Find some jigs to play along with. Some of the ones that I've recorded will work well, as long as they're not too fast, and you can start incorporating those into your playing. As for the left hand, don't worry about too much what you're doing. Just keep it neutral until you get the hang of it, and then from there. And then if you're feeling ambitious, you can start working it into your reel pattern. But I wouldn't worry too much about that yet, but if you do, you know. And once you're feeling comfortable with all of that, alternate double-ended roll on single-ended roll. Again, stick to the jig for now. And work on bringing them together, because I think the best way to go about this is to not treat them as I only play single-ended rolls or I only play double-ended rolls, but to get used to going back and forth between the two of them. It'll make you the most versatile player and give you lots of options for what you want to do, stick choices, where you want to play on the drum, or whatever. So until next time, keep playing, keep practicing, and hopefully we'll start seeing people out at sessions again for real.